Hi, welcome to another edition of Soluna's Answering Shareholders FAQs, what we call Ask Me Anything or AMA series. Today I will address some of the questions that we've received from shareholders in the last several weeks. Look forward to updating you on some important topics. So before I get started, I'll go through our standard preamble. The following content is completely qualified by the legal disclosures on the slide following this one. Our goal is to share with you some of our strategic thinking and financial analysis that we're using to guide the growth of our business. The content is in line with our principles of being accountable and transparent with shareholders. Of course, we operate in a hyper-dynamic economic environment. That's a fancy way of saying that things can change and do change quickly. What we're telling you here is based on our estimates and assumptions, which are our best guess. But we reserve the right to revise our point of view based on new information and changes in the business environment. Despite an uncertain and dynamic environment, we must plan and make operating and investment decisions. This presentation lays some of that out for your review. So our first question comes in anonymously and is, does Soluna currently provide Bitcoin hosting to the big three miners in the USA, Mara, CleanSpark, and Riot? If not, are there opportunities for Soluna to consider partnering with? Great question. What I would say is, although not all of the big three are currently our customers, we do host multiple companies that rank in the top 20, including some in the top 3. And we have ongoing and meaningful discussions with many of the largest miners regularly. Soluna has already earned a reputation as one of the best Bitcoin hosting providers in the industry, and we receive frequent inquiries about upcoming hosted space. The overwhelming interest in Project Dorothy 2 and Project Kati, for example, is a testament to the growth of our brand in this space. Our next question comes from Chris. Chris asked, Applied Digital just received confirmation of up to $5 billion financing with a collaboration with NVIDIA. President Donald Trump has mentioned $20 billion and more in funding for data centers and AI about a week ago. And we know Soluna is involved with NVIDIA as well. Will Project Rosa receive any funding from either the Biden administration or the Trump promise to bring investors to Texas? Maybe you can comment on this further. Well, first of all, I'd say these certainly are exciting times to be an AI data center developer. You've definitely pointed that out. Yes, we are absolutely pursuing a range of funding options, including some of the ones that you mentioned, as well as opportunities to partner with some of the largest global infrastructure funds. That's all I'll say at this point, other than stay tuned for more news in due course. Our next question comes from John, who asked, what type of AI workloads will be suitable at Soluna's greenfield sites? Will this be limited, as all sites are currently co-located at wind farms in remote areas and have limited uptime? Great question. So I'm going to probably oversimplify a bit, but when you look at AI, and in particular large language model development and use, there are 3 main steps. First is training, second is fine-tuning, and third is inferencing. The first 2 are really well suited to behind-the-meter data centers that are co-located at renewable power projects, such as the ones that we're developing, because they're highly batchable and they have slightly lower latency requirements. On the other hand, inferencing applications are typically best suited for data centers located near Tier 1 data hubs. These are the main centers of fiber with lower latency. Uptime is less of a factor because of on-site power redundancy solutions that enable our data centers to fully achieve Tier 3 uptime requirements. Those are typically 99.982%. John also asked, are you actively exploring M&A opportunities with companies that have a stronger balance sheet? It would make it much easier to execute on the capital-intensive undisclosed project pipeline of Soluna. It would be a win-win for some peers with no or low presence in ERCOT and or a limited expertise in AI and high-performance computing. In my opinion, Soluna would have a lot to offer to get a great deal. Well, thanks for that question too, John. First, I'd like to say that if we were or were not pursuing M&A opportunities, we would certainly not comment on that. So I'm not going to comment on that here. However, what I would say is, as we execute our strategy and we engage with potential funding partners, we have and continue and will continue to discuss with a range of parties. These range from large infrastructure funds to climate and sustainability funds to also strategic partners. Our pipeline, we're finding, is a very strong asset in a business environment where a lot of the investors we talk to and strategics that we talk to are struggling to find viable sites where there's a material number of megawatts available of power that can be developed into a data center in a relatively short period of time, for example, 1 to 2 years, which is what we have at Soluna with our pipeline of over 1.6 gigawatts. Often, these developers and investors are encountering 4+ year timelines to bring new front-of-the-meter sites online. Our final question comes from James, who asked, like everyone else, seeing the stock tumble over 60% in a little over a month has been very concerning. In the last 2 weeks, there have been a number of great press releases, and while I understand the company's in great growth mode, which often involves laying the foundation for future revenues and sales, there's been a distinct lack of details in this regard. I've spoken with other large shareholders, and they share my same concern. Can you please share guidance for the Atlas Cloud and Project Kati deals? Without this, shareholders are left feeling that these are value adds rather than future dilution events. Well, thanks for the question, James. First, I would say that after we publish our 10K, which we're getting ready to do here shortly, we will begin the process of producing our annual letter to shareholders and our earnings power presentation update for 2025. In there, you'll begin to get a sense for what the revenue potential that's planned for our growth plans is for this year and beyond. For Project Kati specifically, we plan to develop the project as an 83 megawatt Bitcoin hosting project. So the revenue potential, I would say, will be similar to our Project Dorothy sites, but bigger. And for the Atlas Cloud partnership, we're providing the GPUs and they are marketing the platform as a DeepSeek R1 inferencing platform. Their users will pay by purchasing a token similar to ChatGPT, and we share in the revenue. Stay tuned. So that wraps up the AMA for this month. As a reminder, please feel free to connect with us. You can do that on X or Twitter at Soluna Holdings. You can do it on LinkedIn, also Soluna Holdings. And if you haven't, subscribe to our newsletter. And we've got a link here where you can go to subscribe to that. And as always, thank you for submitting your questions. And if you hadn't had a chance to ask them, please do. And if you have asked and we weren't able to answer it this time, please stay tuned. We hope to answer your question soon. Until next time, thank you very much.